Welcome back to the Knick-Knack Review. Today we get to review episode 3 of Invincible. Let's dive in. So this episode starts out with the funeral for the Guardians, and it is a very sad moment, but gets kind of cringy, in my opinion, whenever Omni-Man delivers the eulogy. Man, that really made me just want to punch him in the face even more. Even though I would break my hand, it would be worth it. After the public funeral is over, the private funeral begins for the family and friends. It's explained in the episode that the reason for 2 funerals is one for the public to get their closure and one that actually is more personal, and the second one for, again, family and friends. And it turns out that there are a lot of grave robbers when it comes to superheroes dying. Who knew? One thing I'd like to mention is I love how they incorporate the title of the show whenever they say the name Invincible. I think that is pretty clever, and it's instead of having your normal intro of a TV show with credits and all that stuff, it's just a way to say it's like Invincible and then title. Bravo, well done. After the second funeral, Darkblood shows up to approach Omni-Man and kind of make him a little nervous. He begins to question him once again, and he's like, I told you everything I know. Are you insinuating anything? And Darkblood basically gives him a hard time and it's just like, nope, just trying to cross my T's, dot my I's type of thing. Trying to cover every little bit of evidence that I can. After the funeral, the family go home, and this is where Mark kind of learns that as a superhero, you, at least according to his dad, he just tells him, you don't bring that stuff home. You leave it there. You try to move on. It comes with the job. It comes with the territory. And Mark's mom is like, no, don't tell him all that stuff. And Mark's mom is kind of not having it. She's like, how can you be so normal, I guess, after you just buried all of your friends? I guess it's easy after you done killed them. After their conversation, the camera zooms out only to show in the house across the street, Henry Gyrick wannabe is actually monitoring everything they say. After all the drama and all the sadness that Mark just endured, he finally finds the courage to call Amber and try to ask her out on a date. It goes about as awkwardly as you would imagine. After a little bit of an awkward talk, he comes up with the idea of having a study date. She's kind of impressed. One thing I like about this show, it captures that awkward teenage stage. You see things in Spider-Man and other comic book heroes that might capture certain realistic aspects of life, and this one actually does a really good job. He definitely gives me Peter Parker Spider-Man vibes whenever it comes to him being in high school, and just that awkward realism. It's like, oh, even though I'm a superhero and I'm invincible, I still have these struggles and I still have, life's not perfect, basically. The next scene shows Eve heading back to their headquarters, only to find out that Rex is cheating on her with Kate. And Kate. And Kate. Yeah, things get a little awkward from there on. She basically storms out and is pretty upset, as she should be. With the Guardians gone, Robot holds an open audition for any and all superheroes so he can create new Guardians. Basically to see who's worthy. Come on down, you could be the next Guardian. They have some pretty impressive heroes that show up. This one scene really kind of stuck out for me because this one girl, I believe her name's Shrinking Ray, she literally brings a theory to life that with Ant-Man and Thanos. She's fighting this gorilla guy, and she literally shrinks down as tiny as she can and jumps in his ear, messes with his mind and his balance and everything, just totally screws him up in the head. He starts throwing up, and it just affects him completely, and just poof, the dude is out for the count, and she comes out victorious. I just couldn't help but think of that theory of Thanos and Ant-Man where he shrinks down and just jumps in his ear and goes normal size, and Thanos just explodes. Another scene that stuck out for me was when Rex got his butt kicked by Monster Girl. He's just saying like, oh, what is she doing here? What can she do? You know, she's just a little girl. That sets her off. She eventually morphs into the monster that she's basically named for and just absolutely kicks his butt. Kind of deserved it too after what he did to Eve. You know, for some odd reason, after watching this show a little bit, Rex kind of gives me Sokka vibes. Now, before you hate on that opinion, I don't mean he acts like Sokka or from Avatar or has any mannerisms, but for some reason his voice kind of reminds me of him, and maybe some of the way he moves and like his not his personality because he's kind of a jerk, but the way he talks. It gives me Sokka vibes and doesn't it basically prevents me from hating him completely. Finally, Amber arrives to Mark's house for their study date. Yep, it's about as awkward as you'd think. Not much time passes before it's interrupted, obviously, by Cecil. Apparently, there's a threat at Mount Rushmore. Crazy doctor with earthquake gauntlets is basically trying to bring it down, and Invincible needs to gear up. He tries his best to get out of it, but of course Cecil is very convincing. Anyway, Mark tells Amber that he's got to go, he had a thing to do, and basically takes off, and she believes it. So Invincible and Adam Eve race to Mount Rushmore, only to find the doctor destroying Abe Lincoln's head. This guy is wacko. Now, this villain is not a really big threat, but I will say for his powers and the way they fight him, it's a really impressive fight. The animation is always good. I can never say enough about that. But it's drawn really well and it's executed really well. The animation always seems to be smooth, and again, I can never compliment it enough. Eventually defeating the villain, Mark races back home to Amber, hoping she's still there. Lucky for him, she is, and she was pretty understanding. After Eve arrives back from her mission with Mark, she sees fireworks in the sky and sees Sokka wannabe, Rex, making fireworks. As a little bit of an apology, kind of weak in my opinion. Ultimately, he's sorry and wants to get back together. Eve's not having any of it and basically shoots him down. Atta girl. The next scene is the maximum holding facility with a bunch of villains. If I'm not mistaken, did I see a cell that had a bunch of duplicates in there? Or did I see that wrong? Let me know in the comments below if that's what you saw as well. Never looked into it, but it looked like a bunch of duplicates in there. In one of the holding cells, you see Thing 1 and Thing 2 yet again, and basically they are trying to escape. After a little bit of a tussle with the guard, they do manage to escape. After a little banter back and forth as they're trying to escape with the normal, I'm the clone, you're the original, no, I'm the original, you're the clone. Thing 1 actually grabs Thing 2, uses him as a human shield, and is able to escape completely, unharmed. Before the credits roll, you see a shadowy figure monitoring the whole thing, and Cecil walks in to talk to him. Out of the shadow comes Robot. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what to make of this exactly. I might need a little help here, because was Robot behind the escape? Or was it all a setup in general to see if they could? Was he testing them? Did he want them to escape? Gonna be honest, I'm not sure what to make of this scene exactly. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below about what you think Robot is doing exactly. Final scene of this episode has Dark Blood appearing yet again, and this is where he confronts Mark's mom. He asks her the same questions he's basically been asking Omni-Man, and she gives him the exact same response. He saw nothing, he knows nothing, and he's innocent. I think he gave her a little bit of doubt, but for the most part, I think he might have just scared her. As Omni-Man walks through the door, Dark Blood is gone, and his wife acts as if everything's normal. As she leaves, he notices that his breath is cold, and that's basically a big signal that Dark Blood was there. And that was it for this episode. This show gets better and better for each episode, so I'm anxious to see how it's going to actually end. Although I don't want to rush it, I'll be honest. That about does it here at the Knick-Knack Review. Don't forget to post your thoughts in the comments below. I'd really like to know what you thought about this episode and help me out and put the pieces together. While you're there, don't forget to leave well, you know what to do. I am Clint the Knick-Knack, and I will see you on the next one.